You don't have to put your name in the red pew patch this week because we didn't bring them in here. So we're going to do that, and we'll take up prayer requests in just a moment. But if you'll turn to the back of your bulletin to see what's coming up. July we do our family movie night. So we're doing 4 weeks of family movie nights on Wednesdays. And so tonight, this coming Wednesday, we'll do Finding Joy. So that's for youth and children, but really anybody can come and be a part of that. Thanks to Mark and Dinah for helping set up for that. I'll be out of town this Wednesday through Sunday. I'm going to be traveling to Washington, D.C. to do my cousin's wedding. And so be a prayer for me as I travel. Kathleen and Edith are up in New York, and it's been perfect on Main Street. And so we're having on the road. David Sellers is going to be preaching next week. He preached last summer while I was on paternity leave, before the baby was here, and I thought he did a great job. I heard a lot of good feedback from everybody else. David's a great guy, and so he'll be here worshiping, preaching for you next week. We'll have devotional activities. Small groups are meeting this week. Good time for devotional next Monday. And please be in prayer for our youth who are going to summer camp. I'll put their names in there and be in prayer for them by name. And also Jennifer is going to recruit people to write letters for the kids to go to camp. So she approaches you about that if you're interested in that. Talk to Jennifer about that. So in the summer, we take up an offering for our kids to make sure they've got the school supplies that they need when they go back to school. And we give them backpacks or other kind of school supplies that are applicable to their age level at the end of July. So that'll be July 30th. And so if you want to make a donation, write on your check. Blessing the backpacks or school supplies, and Johnny will figure it out. On the 6th, after lunch bunch, there'll be a children's ministry training. So anybody having their kids will go be a part of that and do a safe sanctuary training. Then we'll talk about the children's church schedule, just a little tweak in that curriculum. And then if you're teaching Sunday school, you'll stay after that. So you kind of leave. If you just teach children's church, but you don't teach Sunday school, you leave after that part of the training. And then we've also scheduled a leadership team retreat at 5 p.m. on August 27th. Any other announcements that I might have forgotten?
David and Taxi, we're going to be on Tuesday this week.
Okay. You are David and Taxi for taking up. You don't know what this was?
You don't know about this yet. Our Wednesday class decided that we are going to do cooking sort of a random acts of kindness. So every month we're going to select a group of people and we're going to bring gifts in. So they'll get a gift on Wednesday or Sunday, and they'll get them for about a month. So they'll get about 4 gifts a month, and then at the end of that month we are going to take it in. It's just people that we think may, for whatever reason, we select them for different gifts. So if you get it, doesn't mean the person handing you the gift that it's from them. It's from the group altogether. But we just wanted to end up with a sermon. Okay.
All right, let's be in prayer of these activities. God, all the things we do together, we lay before you. These are what we have felt called to do as part of the body of Christ. Learning together, worshiping together, giving together, and serving together. Bless all these activities and pour your Holy Spirit upon them so that they might make the world a better place as you did in the body of Jesus Christ. Amen. In prayer for one another, and a couple of prayer requests. Good news is Bobby Miller, who's in rehab up at Goodwin Care on the north side of town. He's scheduled to get out next week, next Monday, I believe. And so, but he loves getting visits. He's ready to go home, so he loves getting visits. Marie Charbonneau said last week was moved to the Claiborne. It is an assisted living facility, kind of close to the YMCA down off Broadway, Veterans Boulevard. She loves visits as well. And so you can visit them. And the Winsteads live close to her and in Timberton, so if you want to go visit them, they would really appreciate that as well. Also, we be in prayer with one another. Maria?
Please pray for Lottie, for her hand. Because she failed.
I'm so sorry.
And she's gone her hand.
We'll pray for Kim. Thank you.
Hey, I want to pray for my friend's baby. He's in Jackson. I had heart surgery Wednesday.
He goes by baby.
Oh, no.
What?
Her name is Chantel.
Chantel?
I can't pronounce his name. It's old as it.
Okay. How else can we be in prayer?
You know that was
I'm so sorry. She's done the chemo, so there's no speech.
Additional gloves, multiple inspection matters, while we're all in the
Just get it untangled.
for having been able to attend the World National Conference. It was an institutional myself in the world.
We meet servants from across the world. Loyal servants. Any update on that?
And also Carly is not feeling well today. And also everybody was pleading for Mrs. Strong tomorrow. She has the shot.
I think he's going to have everybody. Might have enough to go around. It's pretty long. When it's all put together.
So let's enter a time of prayer by starting with the Lord's Prayer. We'll lift up these prayer requests and then we'll pray a prayer of confession together. Dearest God, we come to you in prayer and pray the prayer that your Son Jesus taught us as children of God. We say,
Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven.
Give us this day our daily bread.
Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory forever. Amen.
God, we pray not just for ourselves, but for all people. For strangers to us, our enemies, we pray for their health and happiness and that their peace with us. And I lift up a few people in our minds and hearts today. God, we pray for Bonnie Miller as he gets out of rehab. We pray for Marie Sharman as she continues her time in assisted living. God, to your love.
We trust this prayer.
God, we pray with Maria for her mighty Kim and for her hands. God, to your love.
We trust this prayer.
We pray for the friends of Tyquell who have health problems in Jackson. God, to your love.
We trust this prayer.
We mourn with Annie for the loss of that baby Cameron who died. We pray for their family and for their peace and comfort. God, to your love.
We trust this prayer.
We pray with Corey for unconditional love, especially for his family. God, to your love.
We trust this prayer.
God, we pray with Anita for her mother wanting that she had promising visit from the doctor, the report from the doctor. God, to your love.
Entrust this prayer.
God, we pray for all those people who are traveling this week. Grandma's daughter, Donna, we pray for Lee, we pray for my family. We're traveling to D.C. for the wedding. God, to your love.
Entrust this prayer.
God, we pray for all people who are having cancer treatment at whatever stage they're having it, especially for Dr. Don Owen, who's been such a crucial part of the music ministry here at the church. God, to your love.
Entrust this prayer.
God, we pray for those who can't here today because they're sick. We pray for Shalia, for Michaela. We pray for Carlene. God, to your love.
Entrust this prayer.
We pray for Helen. We pray for Helen for her daughter, Lala, and for her friend, Shirley. God, to your love.
Entrust this prayer.
We pray with Sarah for the safe traveling from Cairo to Fire. God, to your love.
Entrust this prayer.
God, we pray with Uganda for Sinjar, Janae, Nicholas, Jemiah Ramsey. God, to your love.
Entrust this prayer.
God, we pray, we rejoice with Jamie for the good time that she had at the World Diaconate. We pray for all of those servants of yours from across the world. Pray for their ministries and for fruitfulness in those ministries. God, to your love.
Entrust this prayer.
God, we pray for Miss Josephine Diarca, her back. She had a productive visit to the doctor tomorrow. God, to your love.
Entrust this prayer.
And God, we pray for the Williams family who are traveling this week as well. God, to your love.
Entrust this prayer.
And God, there's so many prayers that are unspoken and unknown. So we lift up to you all these unspoken prayers. God, to your love.
We entrust this prayer.
God, as we draw close to you, it is right that we become aware that you do not love like you love. So we pray for your intercession. Lord, we marvel to you. Words fail to match our grace. We do not have our rest and promise to such. Some of us are weary from ceasing responsibility.
Others find no welcome in the marketplace. We confound your vision for our common life. Forgive us and make yourself known to us in the silence. Shape your children for the commonwealth of your love.
In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
suggesting at the last meeting. Each week we take time to lift the ministries of our church because we believe our ministries are valuable to them. But this is primarily for the members of the church, those who make commitments to support the ministries of the church. Especially if it's your first time here. If anybody's here for the first time, please just let this be a gift from us to you. But second time, there's much as God is calling you.
Yeah, and I guess that way, and I'll just move to that side. I just hate to put a cord around where people might trip. But either way, you're gonna have to cord, either the power cord or the...
Generosity and creativity. And God, help us to learn that we have so many gifts, and help us to name the gifts that we see in one another. And so that we may use the gifts that we have, and we can't live into these places with wisdom, compassion, generosity, and creativity, not just to serve ourselves, but to serve others, and just as you did. Amen. Jesus Christ died for us while we were yet sinners. This proves God's generous love for us. In the name of Jesus Christ, you are forgiven.
In the name of Jesus Christ, you are forgiven.
The peace of Christ be with you.
And also with you.
Let us pass this peace to one another. Now he was in competition with the prophets of a false god. What was the name of that god? Just shout it out. You know. Oh, Baal, whatever. And he was in a competition with 450 other prophets. And he still won. They did an altar. They put a big bull up on the altar, sacrificed. He even put. And so, but what happened? When the prophets involved prayed, oh, come down and light up this fire for us. What happened? Nothing happened, right, Riley? But then, Elijah. And then, even though there was a drought, and then what happened? Yeah, the drought was over. We're probably looking into because after fire came from the sky, then what came out of the sky? Rain. So that was pretty unmistakable. Well, the God of Elijah, the God of the Israelites, must be real. But I gotta add this. Sometimes stuff that flashy does not always happen. It doesn't always happen just so amazing and miraculous and noticeable. Sometimes it's hard to discern. And so I'm going to tell these grown-ups about a story that's a lot less flashy. A servant goes on a trip. He's trying to find a wife for a man named Isaac. He goes and waters some camels and hopes that the woman who comes and offers him water for his camels will be the wife of his master Isaac. So what he knows, and gives him water. Gives water to his camels. But that's not very flashy. That's not fire from the sky. He has to discern, is this the woman that God has appointed for my master Isaac? So he has to think in real quiet things. Look. And he notices that this woman is hospitable. She's nice. She's kind. She's generous. She had to go down and get a whole lot of water for those camels. She's hardworking. She's ready to help out. And she's got a good relationship. And so that's how men serve. Okay. This generous and wise, passionate, and hardworking person, this is the person that God is appointed. And those are the kind of people I want y'all to hang out with. Passionate, kind, generous people. Hard working people who are ready to help out. And that's how I want y'all to be. And that's how I try to be, and that's how I try to help you. Because that's how we know someone is going to be a servant of God. So will you be compassionate and generous and helpful, just like Rebecca was? You going to be like that, right? Let's hold hands and you can go to church. Dear God, we thank you for this day. We thank you for these kids. They are so special to us. Help us to set a good example for them. They may grow up and honor you and serve others. Amen. Amen. Let's thank God for our kids. If you're in youth group, you stay in there, Sanaya, Shalia. Come on, lady, what do you want to do? This sermon's just for you. This sermon's just for you, Raheem. It is just for you. So, this whole story of Genesis 24 is a great one. So we're going through Genesis and the continuous portion of the lectionary. So the lectionary is assigned scripture text for each week. And in the Old Testament, it has moving through the stories of the patriarchs in Genesis and the time of slavery and liberation in Exodus. And the context here is that Abraham, the patriarch, is old. His wife Sarah has just died. But his son, the appointed son Isaac, does not yet have a wife. So he's got to solve this problem. So I kind of debated on whether or not to read this whole chapter, try to go over this whole chapter with you. I even thought about taking a vote. Andy, what do you think? Do you think I need to read this whole chapter 24? No? Okay. I thought you'd say yes, because like you'd be voting against the Bible. Okay, well then I just won't. All right, let the record show Andy does not want me to read the Bible, okay? So what happens here is Abraham commissions his servant. And I'm going to give you the cliff notes, okay? Commissions his servant. The servant doesn't have a name. And says, okay, servant, I need you to go back to the land where I came from. Because Abraham followed God from one part of Mesopotamia over to the land of Israel, the land of Canaan. And he said, I don't want my son Isaac marrying one of the Canaanites. So you, servant, I need you to go back and go back to the land of my ancestors, see if you can find my family and find a wife for my son from my people. And so the servant says, what if you won't come with me? Come back here. He says, that's fine. Okay. You've done what you could do. But just don't take my son Isaac back there. Don't take them back to that place. Because God has sent us here to live in this land. So I want to go back there. So he actually makes the servant put the servant's hand under Abraham's thigh and says, promise me that that's what he'll do. And he does it. And he goes on his mission. So he takes 10 camels and goes out and travels to Aram Naharaim. The camels kneel down outside the city and the women come out to draw the water. And the first thing he does is pray. He says, Lord God of my master Abraham, make something good happen for me today and be loyal to my master Abraham. I'm going to stand here by the spring while the daughters of the men of the city come out to draw water. And when I say to a young woman, hand me your water jar so I can drink, and she says to me, drink, I'll give your camels water too. May she be the one you selected, God, for your servant Isaac. In this way I will know you've been loyal to my master. And so even before he finished speaking, Rebekah, it's the daughter of Bethuel and son of Milcah, wife of Nahor, Abraham's brother. So this is Abraham's great-grandniece, his grandniece, Isaac's cousin. Comes out with the water jar, and the servant says, can I have a drink of water? She says, of course. Gives him a sip from her pitcher and says, can I also feed your camels? He says, thank you. She goes and gets and pours out her pitcher in the water trough and goes and gets enough water for 10 camels, so gets a lot of water. And so while she's doing this, it says in verse 21, the man stood gazing at her, wondering silently if the Lord had made his trip successful or not. After the camels finished drinking, the man took out a gold ring and 2 bracelets for her arms. He says, tell me whose daughter you are, please, and is there room in your father's house for us to spend the night? She says, I am the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah and Nahor. We have plenty of straw to feed for the camels and a place to spend the night. So that means he's found out she is in Abraham's family. It's good news for him. So he vows and praise the Lord. Bless the Lord God of my master Abraham, who hasn't given up on his loyalty and his faithfulness to my master. The Lord has shown me the way to the household of my master's brother. So the young woman, she runs into her house. She gets her brother Laban. It's the first time Laban appears in the Bible. And Laban comes out, he sees all this gold. Laban's a crafty character. He just says, oh, well, I've seen all this gold. I'm going to go welcome this guy into my household. He goes out and says, come on in, come on in. He cooks him a big meal. And says, eat this meal. But the servant says, no. Before I eat, I need to tell you my story. He says, okay, tell us the story. And so, now this is where the servant is really smart. He says, I'm Abraham's servant. The Lord has richly blessed my master and made him a great man and given him flocks and cattle, silver, gold, men servants, women servants, camels, and donkeys. My master's wife Sarah gave birth to a son for my master in her old age, and he's given him everything he owns. My master made me give him his word. Don't choose a wife for my son from the Canaanite women in whose land I'm living. No, instead, go to my father's household and to my relatives and choose a wife for my son. I said to my master, one of the women won't come back with me. He said to me, the Lord, whom I've traveled with everywhere, will send his messenger with you and make your trip successful. And you will choose a wife for my son from my relatives and from my father's household. If you go to my relatives, you will be free from your obligation to me. Even if they provide no one for you, you will be free from your obligation. The servant kept telling the story. He says, today I arrived at the spring. I said, Lord God, my master Abraham, if you wish to make the trip I'm taking successful. When I'm standing by the spring, and the young woman who comes out to draw the water, and to whom I say, please give me a little water to draw. And she responds, drink, draw water for your camels too. May she be the woman the Lord has selected for my master's son. And before I finished saying this to myself, Rebecca came out with her water jar on her shoulder and went down to the spring to draw water. And I said to her, please give me something to drink. And she immediately lowered her water jar and said, drink, and I will give your camels something to drink. So I drank. She also gave water to the camels. Then I asked her, whose daughter are you? And she said, the daughter of Bethuel, named Gore's son, Milcah, Gore. I put a ring in her nose and bracelets on her arms. I bowed and worshiped the Lord and blessed the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who led me in the right direction to choose the granddaughter of my master's brother for his son. Now, if you're loyal and faithful to my master, tell me. If not, tell me, so that I will know where I stand either way. Laban, and it's a good thing we skip some of that, because it's very repetitive. Laban and Bethuel both responded. This is all the Lord's doing. We have nothing to say about it. Here is Rebekah right in front of you. Take her and go. She'll be the wife of your master's son, just as the Lord has said. And when Abraham's servant heard what he said, he bowed low before the Lord. The servant brought out gold and silver, jewelry, and clothing, and gave them to Rebekah, her brother and her mother. He gave the finest gifts to them. He and the men with him, they ate and they drank and they spent the night. When they got up in the morning, the servant said, "See me off to my master." Her brother and mother said, No, let the young woman stay with us, not more than 10 days. After that, she may go. But he said to them, "Don't delay me. The Lord has made my trip successful. See me off so that I can go to my master." They said, "Summon the young woman. Let's ask her opinion." They called Rebekah and said to her, "Will you go with this man?" She said, "I will go." So they sent off their sister Rebekah, her nurse, Abraham's servant, and her men. They blessed Rebekah, saying to her, "May you, our sister, become thousands of 10,000. May your children possess their enemies' cities." Rebekah and her young woman got up, mounted the camels, followed the man, for the servant took Rebekah back. Now Isaac had come from the region of Beer-lahai-roi and had settled in the arid southern plain. One evening, Isaac went out to inspect the pasture, and while staring, he saw camels approaching. Rebekah stared at Isaac. She got down from the camel and said to her servant, "Who's this man walking through the pasture to lead us?" The servant said, "He is my master." So she took her head scarf and covered herself. The servant told Isaac everything that had happened. Isaac brought Rebekah into his mother Sarah's tent. He received Rebekah as his wife and loved her. So Isaac found comfort after his mother's death. The word of God, the people of God.
Thanks be to God.
Let's pray. God, we hear this ancient story. Help us to find ourselves in this story, that we might be servants as worthy as this man and Rebekah. Amen. So who are you in the story? Who are you in the story? We are certainly the servant. I think we all are. All of us are called, Raheem, at some point. We are commissioned similar to how God calls a prophet. And so what work are you being called to do, just like this servant is being called to do? And you might be called to this work not just by God, but by an earthly master, an earthly authority. That commission may come out of the mouth of just the person you know. And both the servant and Rebekah respond and go. And so the question for you is, whether you find yourself in the servant or in Rebekah, where is God calling you to go? To a new place, to meet new people, and to form new relationships. Because God is calling all of you, I think, all of us, to find new places and new people to serve, to be in relationship with. Now we have a choice in the matter, right? Rebekah has a choice in the matter. Abraham assumes, the servant assumes that she has a choice in the matter. Human decision may thwart Abraham's plan, maybe even frustrates God's plan, but we have free will. Abraham and the servant, they take human desires into account, right? They take gold and silver in order to persuade people because they know that those people have a choice. A lot depends on what humans decide to do, even if God has done God's own part. Humans have the power to frustrate God's plan. But not everybody likes to hear that. They want to say God is in control of everything. Not that humans have their own control, their own free will. We have the power to thwart God's plans, and God will have to move on to plan B. But the servant is loyal. Follows and goes to this new place, even though he has his doubts, his questions. Rebekah chooses to follow Abraham's path. Her life mirrors Abraham's life. She becomes sort of the power player of the family. She leaves the same land Abraham left to go to the land of Canaan. So I think there are three things we can learn from this servant if we pay attention to the story. The servant is prayerful. What's the first thing he does when he gets off the camels and gets to the city? He prays. First thing he does is praise. He trusts his master Abraham, so he trusts Abraham's God, who is Yahweh. He trusts that Yahweh is with him on the journey, just like Yahweh is traveling with Abraham. He wants to work with this God. He wants to be his God's co-worker. God's not going to do all the work. He's not going to do all the work. Both have to take some initiative. And why pray? Why does he pray? And I think this is it. What he does in the prayer is he confesses to God what he's going to do, what his plan is. Like God didn't tell him, okay, you're going to go to the spring, and then you're going to talk to this woman, and then the first woman who comes out and feeds the camels, that's the woman. God didn't do that. God doesn't even talk in this story. There's nothing flashy here from God. Instead, the man confesses to God his plan. I like this. I like doing this in prayer, honestly. Because if we confess to God what we're going to do or what we have done, it's kind of a way of laying out our lives, almost on an altar, and saying, God, evaluate this. Tell me if I've done right in the past. Tell me if what I plan to do in the future is right. Because there's something that happens in prayer. This is kind of what happens in therapy. You talk it out, and then once it's sort of external from your mind, then you can say, okay, that's a good idea, or maybe that's not the best idea. That's a good thing to do. Maybe that's actually not the best thing to do. You know, people say, now that I'm talking about it, it sounds stupid. Sometimes that's the case, right? Talk it out, and it might be not the best idea. So he talks out his plan to God. Because he has a newer conception of faith. He doesn't assume God's going to just do something flashy and show this crazy sign. He assumes that God is working in human hearts to bring people together into relationships that are fruitful. Aren't we in this situation? That God does not promise that God will control every single thing, but we have to kind of work out the details. This is what the servant has to do. He assumes God's with him. God's not going to do all the work. He has to work out the details. Figure out how he's going to do it, steps he's going to take to achieve his goal. This is like what we have to do. God sets our direction, but we have to figure out the ways to move in that direction. We're like the servant. prayer is the best place, the first place to start. Here's the second thing that I like about the servant. He's quietly discerning. He's quietly discerning. He says that the man stood gazing at her, wondering silently if the Lord has made his trip successful or not. I like that silent contemplation. Because again, it's not going to be something flashy. So you have to discern what God is up to. And so we find out, it said the narrator tells us, Rebecca is Abraham's family, and here she comes. So we know before the servant knows. So how's the servant going to find out? So then he does his little silent contemplation. And he says, okay, what I'll do is I'll show her that I've got a little money, and I'll ask her, whose family are you in? And, innocent question. And do you have a place to stay? Innocent question. And then it's a good bet that he makes, because she responds simply, this is whose family I'm in. Of course she can spend the night. And he's overjoyed and finds out not only is this woman generous and she's hospitable, but she's also in Abraham's family, and Abraham's family, those people are very hospitable. And then, so the appointed one for Isaac is recognized by her readiness, her diligence, her compassion, her generosity, her wisdom, like I was telling you, her hard work, her hospitality. This is the kind of person that the servant decides, okay, that's the kind of person I want Isaac to be in a relationship with. That's the kind of person I am. That's the kind of person I think God wants us to be in relationships with. It might take some discernment. We need to watch people. Say, is that person generous? Is that person smart enough to take care of some camels or take care of a kid? Because if so, if they possess some of these qualities, then that might be who God is calling us to be in a relationship with. But if they're lazy and inhospitable and a little foolish, that may not be the person God wants us to be in a relationship with. And ultimately, Rebecca is the kind of person that God wants us to be hospitable. God wants us to be like that. The third thing is that the servant is crafty. I'm going to tell you how the servant is crafty. So, Abraham says, if the woman doesn't want to come, your fight's fine. You've done what you can do. So he goes and he tells this nice story, and he just tweaks some of the details. And he kind of puts it in the hands of these men in the household, and he said, it's up to you whether you will make Abraham's wishes come true. It's flattering, right? I need your help. That's flattering. You have power in the situation. So he flatters him. And then notice how Abraham said, don't let my son go back to that place. But when the servant retells the story, he doesn't mention that part. He doesn't say, Isaac sure as heck doesn't want to live here in this dump. Because that would be insulting. This is all on purpose, okay? This is one of the most well-written stories of Genesis. There's flattery. There's the leaving out the details that might be insulting. And then this final crucial part, he says, the God of my master Abraham led me in the right direction to choose the granddaughter of my master's brother for his son. Because, God has been loyal and faithful to Abraham. And then he says, now if you're loyal and faithful to my master, tell me. If not, tell me so I'll know where I stand either way. He's saying, God has led me to this place. So now what are you going to do? How are you going to respond? God has been good to Abraham. Are you going to be good to Abraham? Will you act like God acts? Will you be as generous as God is generous? Will you show kindness and loyalty and faithfulness like God shows kindness and loyalty and faithfulness? He may not let them know this, but he's backing them into a corner, right? Laban says, all right, well, God's done it. And if he admits that God has been at work here, what can he say? He can't say no. The servant is crafty, not manipulative, and he's not false, but he is crafty in how he talks to people. And you need to learn from this. and you need to work with other people, and you need their help. Because the servant needs these people to agree to this plan. You can't just boss everybody around and tell them what to do. Not everybody likes being told what to do. Sometimes you got to persuade. You don't have to flatter them. You got to avoid insulting them and insulting where they live. That's a good strategy, right? And finally, he confesses where he has seen God at work. And he invites them to come be a part of what God is doing. That's the truly convicting piece right there. He says, this is where I have seen God at work in my life and in the life of Abraham's family. Will you be a part of what God is doing? Will you be a part of this plan that God has? That's Raheem, I'm telling you what I do as a pastor. I try to persuade people. I say, this is where I've seen God at work. Will you be a part of this? And so, Raheem, when I've seen God at work here at Court Street, I've seen God at work transforming the lives of low-income kids. Some of them going to college, graduating from college, being the first in their family to graduate from college. I've seen God at work here, including people who would not feel included or welcome at every church for whatever reason, or they wouldn't be allowed to be in a leadership position in their church for whatever reason. That's what I've seen God do here at this church. And I've seen God work with parents and help them and create and use this church as a community of support for parents who need more support than they might get at other churches. That's what I've seen God do. And that's what I invite people to take part in. So I invite you to be a part of it. I invite people to be a part of it. So we're sending you and some of the younger youth to summer camp, right? So in Lent, I invited, because I think that's what God wanted us to do. And so in Lent, I invited people to help pay for y'all to go to summer camp. And you know what happened? We raised all the money we needed to send y'all to camp. Because people were generous and they wanted to be a part of what God was doing in this church. And the camp itself gave us $200 scholarships for every single kid. And because they want to be a part of what God is doing here. We bookmarked money in savings thinking we would have to use that, but we don't even have to touch that money because of the money we raised. That's just one example. I could give you 10 more. Okay, there's a PS right here. The PS. The PS is Rebecca and the servant are not waiting around once they know that God's plan has come to fruition. Rebecca, ends up making the ultimate decision. She's ready to hit the road. No delay. The servant knows that God has really led him this far and everything's going okay. It's time to hit the road. We can learn from that. Once you witness God at work in your life, once you say yes, do not delay. Take your first step now. Take your first step now toward the new place that you need to be going to, or toward the new people that you need to be serving and be in a relationship with. I can still remember my Abraham and servant moment when it came to Court Street. It was Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th in 2002. A month earlier, I met with the bishop, and I was just waiting to hear where I was going to be appointed. Then the district superintendent calls and said, Brad, come into my office. I'm nervous, I don't know what's going to happen. But I know I had a meeting, it was like 8 in the morning. I drive up there. She says, Brad, you're being appointed to Court Street. And I just cried. I cried. And then I said, give me 10 days to think about it. No, heck no, I didn't say that. I said, of course I'm going. I said, yes. The servant didn't say, oh, Abraham, just give me a little while. No. Abraham believes this is what God wants us to do. The servant trusts Abraham, so he trusts Abraham's God. So he says, yes, it takes first step that day. When I asked you, Raheem, you want to go to summer camp, did you say, I'll think about it? What did you say? What did you say? I don't remember. But I don't think you delayed. I think you said yes. And you're like the servant. You're like me. You're like the servant. You're like Rebecca. We're sending you to a new place to form new relationships with God and with other people. Relationships that will be transformative and fruitful. All of us can learn from this servant. We've got to be prayerful. We've got to be quiet, thoughtful, and discerning. We're going to have to be crafty and persuasive. And finally, we're going to have to say yes. Take steps now before it's too late to go on the journey that God is calling us to go on. Amen?
Amen.
All of us are called to Christian discipleship. And the mission of the United Methodist Church is to make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world, but because we believe that loyal disciples and servants change the world for the better. You're going to be called to go to a new place, just like that servant. You're going to be called to go to college, called to go to a new job in Georgia. You're going to be called to go to a new place to form relationships with new people that are going to be fruitful. I believe that. I believe we all are. I'm excited. I love being your pastor. I love hearing about what that next step is. We're called to let's set up and talk about it. Let's stand and sing our hymn of commitment. How firm a foundation. One of my favorite. Let's stand as we sing. goes before you and with you on the journey. As Christians, we think of that as the Christ Spirit that is with us and alive with us, not far away, but is our good shepherd who leads us in the right direction, who doesn't do all the work for us, is our co-worker. Christ is your co-worker. Get to know your co-workers. So that you can see what the work that you're being called to do that will complement the work that God's done. All of you have gifts to use in ministry. And all of us have a lot to learn about how to do ministry. Amen? Amen. Go in peace. The God of peace that's going to